Hi, this is Sheila Kennedy, and today I'm going to talk to you about a process that at Sounds from Source we refer to as the Circle of Truth. I've been a vibrational kinesiologist amongst other holistic practices for many years, and this is a process that I use on a regular basis. The Circle of Truth can also be referred to as your personal lie detector test. But the Circle of Truth is the name that we give to the kinesiological process, which is also known as applied kinesiology, or AK, or in some instances muscle testing. And we utilize this simple process to ask questions of the body and also to obtain answers. Now, these questions and answers can be many and varied, but what happens is that your body knows everything about you. So basically, the answers to the questions are inside of you. Your subconscious mind, or as we term it, the genius or computer within, knows everything about you. So if you ask the right questions, then your body will supply the correct answers for you. So how does this process work? The Circle of Truth process uses the deltoid muscle in the upper arm as an indicator. The deltoid muscle's on the outside and between your shoulder and your elbow. If you ask a question that has a positive or a yes response, then the answer will be an affirmative or a yes in reply. If the question you ask has a negative response, then the answer will be a negative or no reply. When we ask questions of the body, we're connecting with the part of the body known as the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, or the genius as I refer to it as I've said, knows everything about you. This powerful part of your mind can access areas of your own inner knowing that you may not even be aware of. We're going to share 3 individual ways of asking questions with you, using muscle testing or the Circle of Truth process, for yourself and with permission for others. It's always important to have permission, otherwise you're using what I would refer to as trespass. When you're practicing muscle testing, if you're practicing with another person, I will use a right-handed explanation. So to begin with, it's important to ask permission to test, to have the other person's agreement or approval. Then stand facing the person and ask them to hold their left arm out and hold it firm or strong. This is not a test of strength, so firm or strong is quite sufficient. Now create what could be called an electrical circuit or a circuit. And to create this circuit, you do this by placing your left hand on your test subject's right shoulder. Remember that this is testing from a right-handed explanation. And then placing your left hand to rest gently on their left wrist. Once you've created the circuit, remind your test subject to hold their arm strong. And as I said, this is not a test of strength. Press gently when required. 1 finger is often sufficient. Ask your test subject to make a true statement. For example, my name is John. Press gently on the raised arm as they make the statement. The arm will remain strong because they've made a true statement. Their name is John. Ask your test subject to make a false statement. For example, asking John to say, my name is Bill. Press gently on the raised arm as they make the statement. The raised arm will become weak as the statement is untrue. So why did the arm become weak? When we make a false statement, the subconscious or the genius, as I describe it as, will withdraw approximately 60 to 80% of the energy in the arm. I often refer to it as the old-fashioned lie detector test. This withdrawal of energy produces a weakening in the deltoid muscle that we're using to check with, and the arm becomes weaker. When we make a positive statement, the arm will remain strong. Now that you have an explanation for how and why kinesiology or muscle testing works, we want to introduce to you some easy methods which you can use on or for yourself. Do not always have someone else to be your test subject. Remember that practice makes perfect, and these simple methods mean that you can test for yourself without another person to ask the questions of. So the first method is using either your right or left hand, depending on which one you normally write with. So firstly, form a circle with your finger and thumb. Now that's placing the pad of your finger and thumb together loosely, not point to point of the top of the finger and the thumb, just the pad of the finger and the thumb. If you're right-handed, use your left finger and thumb, and if you're left-handed, use your right finger and thumb. Now take the forefinger of your other hand into the circle of your finger and thumb at the join where the two pads of your finger and thumb come together and join the circle. And we're going to apply to that loosely held finger and thumb some light pressure as we ask the question. When you ask a question, for instance, or example, my name is Sheila in my instance, if you state your true name and pull your finger against the join of the finger and thumb that you've made into a circle, it should remain strong as this is a true statement. If, however, I say my name is Jane, with Jane not being my real name, the finger should pass through or pull through the circle made by the finger and thumb, as the arm will become weak, the arm that you're holding that finger and thumb, as the deltoid muscle has less strength, less energy, and this is an untrue statement. The second method that you can use is using two fingers. The first two fingers, the ones just beside your thumb, on either hand, again depending on whether you're left or right-handed, and you would use the hand that you normally write with to test with. So rather than using the finger from the hand that you'd write with as your test and the finger and thumb to create the circle being the hand that you do not test with, in this instance we're going to use the fingers, in my instance being right-handed, of my right hand. So rest the second finger, the longer one, on top of the first finger, and we sit the pad of the finger on top of the fingernail. These two fingers are working on roughly the same level of muscle group, so they'll have approximately the same strength. So ask the question and then push or press down with the top finger. If the statement you made is true, the bottom finger will remain strong as a positive response and the fingers will not move. It's like they're locked in place. If the statement you made is untrue and the answer is a negative, the bottom finger will become weak, thus allowing the top finger to be able to press the bottom finger down. Either method are useful and can be used at any time. You need to clear your mind before asking a question, and it's a technique that you need to practice. Some people can do it very simply and very easily, others take a little longer. So practice, practice, practice makes perfect, and practice on many things. You might be, for example, in the supermarket and you can ask about the food you're going to buy. You might be driving down the highway and ask, should you turn left or right? These are things that I use these processes for. So how do you ask the questions? Before you begin, be clear about the questions you wish to ask. For example, if you're shopping, is this food of benefit to me? If the answer is yes, you could further qualify the answer as follows. Is food A, for example oranges, better for me than food B, which could be apples? Or is this food of a high nutritional value for me? I go to the supermarket and because I've got my one hand on a trolley, I use one finger on top of the other and I will ask questions of myself. Apples, yes. Oranges, no. Bananas, yes. Grapes, no. And it simplifies my shopping. You can also ask, if 0 is the lowest and 10 is the highest on your scale of questioning, what value is the food for you or for your body at a specific time? So if you start from 1, creating the circle of your finger and thumb, or one finger on top of the other, and start counting. So you, with the finger and thumb together, you're pressing against the finger and thumb with the finger from the other hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The finger gives way, it's not a 6, so it's a 5. You're looking for the highest possible value. A 9 or a 10 would be really good. So either the circle of the finger and thumb gives away, or the bottom finger, if you're using one finger on top of the other, gives way as you're testing, and that will give you the value within yourself of what you're asking about is at that particular time. Remember that that can change depending on the day, where you are, and a number of other things. So if you're unsure and you've tested previously, test again. When you're asking questions, there's a couple of things to remember. One is what I call a word of caution. When you test something, it's giving you a response, as I've just said, or an answer to your current state now. If you ask that question at a later date, it may give you a different answer, as your circumstances may have changed. So, for example, if I'm driving down the highway in the morning and I say, will I take the eastern or the southeastern freeway, left or right, I might get a right and go on the eastern in the morning. Coming home in the afternoon, it's a different time of day, traffic circumstances may be different, and my body may choose to take the southeastern freeway. So always, if you're unsure, check and check again. Please remember also, when you ask questions, you're asking questions for yourself only, unless you are using someone else as a test subject and questioning for them with their permission. It takes a lot of skill to be able to surrogate or ask questions for another person, and you must have that person's permission to ask, or you are trespassing. You're going where you're not welcome. So practice, practice, practice. As I said, Susan and I hope you will enjoy working with and playing with, using muscle testing and the circle of truth in your own life. We use it on a daily basis, and we teach it to all our practitioners. It is one of the most useful tools I have ever come across. So keep practicing, enjoy, and you'll find it becomes easier and easier. And this is Sheila. Thank you for joining us today.